This is Module 17, Engaging with Communities for Access to Justice. My name is Jane Szychowski. I'm CEO of SM Sehgal Foundation in Gurgaon, Haryana. I'm delighted to lead this discussion today, and I actually hope that you will watch this in small groups, that you and others who are studying this module will sit together and talk about some of the issues that will come up during this videotape. The objectives of this session are to talk about how we engage with communities for justice issues. We as legal professionals want to help citizens participate, citizens be empowered to exercise the rights that they have. As you know from other modules in this series, there are many rights that various categories of people have, as well as general rights available to all. We can help through our work as students, faculty, paralegals, and other legal professionals in the community. People seize those rights, claim those rights, access those rights to enjoy a dignified life. In terms of this session, we will not only look at the issue of legal empowerment, but also at methods for helping people achieve legal empowerment. One method is legal literacy camps, and those camps often cover relevant government schemes, flagship government schemes that allow marginalized people to meet their basic needs for food, shelter, education, health services, electricity. These are schemes that perhaps we do not think about as legal rights, but for people who are poor and marginalized, these basic necessities are certainly part of the legal rights they need to be assisted with. As we look at this module, we're also going to talk about communications. Those of you who are LLM students, which I understand is the majority of people watching this module, you have learned a lot of legal jargon. That legal jargon may be very helpful to you in the courtroom, but in dealing with communities, it's really important that you speak in a language that is clear to the communities with whom you are engaging. So one must remember the situation of those communities. One must investigate and find out the situation of communities to understand how to target communications to them so that people understand, so that people trust you and tell their story to you so that you can help analyze and find their options. You as LLM students or bachelor students have typically a limited amount of time that you are spending in community while you're in academic life. It's really important that you learn how to collaborate with civil society groups that are there for the long haul. Because it's those civil society groups, whether they're called NGOs or community-based organizations or self-help groups, those are the organizations that have established relationships with communities. And you, as someone who may be somewhat passing through, should work with people who have already built trust in a community. If you are a member of a marginalized group, or you have been working with a community for a long time, of course, you may have established those relationships already yourself. But for many students that we see, their time commitment is relatively brief, and they have to remember that the community is there for the long haul and sees a lot of students come through. So you will have to figure out how to establish your own credibility. Other objectives of this session relate to your professional role and your behavior with the communities. When dealing with communities with whom you're conversing at a very straightforward level without legal jargon. You may have a tendency to think that you are the expert and they are the learners. But in point of fact, you as lawyers, you as LLM students, are there to learn just as much as the community is there to learn from you, because you must understand the context in which they're living for any of your analysis to make any sense. So a rule of thumb for dealing with communities is that you should use participatory methods. So you are speaking with them and they are speaking with you. You are perhaps conducting role plays to give them an opportunity to express emotions and ideas that come directly from their experience. So these participatory methods will enrich your learning and also help build your relationship with them while you're also learning a lot of important information from the client community. Another aspect of the professional role is ethics. We think of ethics in terms of courtroom behavior, but ethics permeates all of our behavior. And in dealing with communities, it's extremely important. When we speak of dealing with marginalized communities, we know that the communities have already received the short end of the stick in many ways from society. It's very important that legal professionals dealing with the communities are honest, are zealous, follow through on what they say they will do. So these are all aspects of ethics. Another indication that you should be looking for is whether your advice is accurate. It's important to give high quality legal advice to people of marginalized communities. When you're having conversation in plain language, you may have an instinct to talk conversationally without your full professional analysis weighing in, but that's not your role. Your role is to give high quality legal advice to people. And so it's important to make sure that you check what you say for its accuracy. Another aspect of your professional role is that you're not acting in isolation. You are part of the legal profession, and the way that India has designed legal professionals to work with marginalized communities is that there has been the establishment of the National Legal Services Authority with state legal services authorities and district legal services authorities with clinics even in villages. It is important that you engage with the Legal Services Authority in your area. Your law school will likely be doing this, but even you as an individual should make sure that you know the people in the Legal Services Authority. Why? Well, if the Legal Services Authority is doing a great job, you stand a lot to learn from them. If the Legal Services Authority is limping for lack of full participation, you can help empower this institution to be more effective, to be more functional in the area in which you're working. Networks are important because they have a history, they have an institutional memory, and it's important to engage with them as opposed to just doing work on your own, which will tend to get lost once you're gone. Along the same line, part of your professional role is to contribute to the development of poverty law resources. When we think of work for the corporate world, we know there are a lot of books we can buy, there are a lot of resources, a lot of training events that we could go to learn more about how to represent the corporate world. But for marginalized people, it's important that we develop an equally robust set of resources to help lawyers do their level best, to help law students learn effectively about poverty law issues. So what you do in engaging with communities is something that you should try to feed into either law school efforts, legal services authority efforts, or private law firm efforts to develop good resources for other law students and lawyers to use. My examples during this module will come from rural India. The non-governmental organization with which I works on water, agriculture, and good governance, and has a radio station in Haryana. Many of the points that I'm making equally apply in urban India, and I'm sure you'll be able to come up with parallel examples.